Your limits are somewhere up there, waiting for you to reach beyond infinity. Arnold Henry said that, and I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Basketball Podcast. This is episode number 100 and Mikhail, aka episode number 132. 32 was the number worn by Celtics legend Kevin McHale, arguably the third greatest player to wear the number 32 behind Magic Johnson and Shaquille O'Neal. I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask. If you ask anyone in the state of Massachusetts, they'll tell you that Kevin McHale is the second greatest to wear the number, but only because Shaq played in Boston at the tail end of his career. Actually, wait, hold on. Shaq wore the number 36 in Boston. So, yeah, he doesn't count. Never mind. Anyway, my name is Ike Amaechi, and I'm joined by Sean Khan, Stephen Leslie, and special guest Ugo the Sheik. Welcome back, man. Around here, we live by the principle governed by the high and low lives of the world, which means we talk about basketball, hoops to some, especially and specifically the NBA. We talk about it at any time, anywhere, north, south, east, west, high and low. This week on High and Low, we're saying nice things about the players and teams we hate, and hateful things about the players and teams we love. Yes, this is a high and low love-hate episode, but in a beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy kind of way. And we have another listener question to answer, so stay tuned for that. Before we lock in, let's check in. This week, Sean and I, or actually last week, Sean and I, we had our top 10. So this week, we're basking in our top 10 selection. Mitch, of all people, was not happy with my placement of Jokic on my list. He actually agreed with you, Sean, having Jokic at number 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought Jokic was going to be higher on his list, but apparently he was good with where you put Jokic. I'm like, interesting. Mitch is not here. I shouldn't even do this for Mitch because, he bailed on us this week.
He's not here right now, Harry, but look, now tell me about it.
George. But I'll do it. I'll do it for him. He did provide his own top 10 list, and it goes like this. He's got Giannis at number 1.
Hold on. If he's not here, then why would you give him any kind of airtime?
I asked you and Steven before we started recording if you wanted to give your top 10s. You both gave me crickets. So Mitch is Mitch is going to get.
Mitch is weak. That's why. Let's hear it.
Wow. Okay. So Mitch agreed with our top 3, of course, and Sean's top 4. So Giannis at 1, Luka at 2, Steph Curry at 3. You got Nikola Jokic at 4. And this is where we all start to kind of, diverge, deviate. He's got Jason Tatum at 5, Joel Embiid at 6, Kevin Durant at 7, Ja Morant at 8, Devin Booker at 9, and drum roll, Pascal Siakam at 10.
Homer pick.
I got a question. Is Pascal Siakam a top 10 player to any of you guys?
Nope.
No.
Okay. So can you repeat the question?
Nope. I don't have to. That's 4 no's.
Pascal Siakam is at best the 14th best player in the NBA right now.
Ugo, where do you think you would have Pascal?
I'd rank him higher than Kobe.
Kobe's dead, bro.
Why do you ask Ugo questions?
No, I agree. I think he's top 15. I don't know if he's top 10 quite yet, but he's definitely.
I asked Ugo because he's a Raptors fan, so I just wanted to see how biased Mitch was compared to Ugo and myself.
Right.
True.
Based off the only 9 games played, if he's top 15 off 9 games only, then that's crazy.
Okay, so are we gonna call Embiid an MVP candidate?
I'm just saying. That's good. Right. But he's not top 10, so whatever.
I find it interesting, Ugo, because it seems like you're channeling Mitch. Because apparently, what Mitch told me was that the only reason that he put Pascal Siakam at number 10 is because we put Joel Embiid in the top 10. So if Embiid is in our top 10, Siakam deserves to be in the top 10. I don't understand the logic.
I mean, Embiid's averaging 32 points a game.
When he plays.
So different levels.
Yeah, I think Pascal was like 24 points per game, and his defense wasn't that great, but whatever. Can't keep talking about this kind of stuff. I hope he hears this.
But like, in Mitch's defense and whoever else puts Pascal in that like when we're talking about 10 to 15, 5 to 10, like you're splitting hairs. If you look at our 5 to 10, it's a lot of the same players, but they're in different positions. So, I mean, I'm not going to hate on someone for putting the 14th best player at 10, even though we all know why he did it. There's room for that level of variance, but
Slobbering all over Siakam. That's why he did it.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow,
Slobbering.
Reckless.
Anyway, Sean, Ugo, Steven, I appreciate your time this week. Thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for joining us for yet another installment of the program. Another week, another episode, more NBA, some more high and low. This week in NBA history, the Grizz clapped the Thunder on December 2nd, 2021, not too long ago. The Ja Morant-less Memphis Grizzlies, that's right, they didn't have Ja available for this game against the OKC Thunder. Well, they blew them out. They blew out the Thunder 152-79, led by Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s 27 points. The Grizz won by 73 points, just in case you didn't do the math, which eclipsed the previous record held by the Cleveland Cavaliers when they beat the Miami Heat by 68 points on December 17, 1991. One of the most impressive things about this win, aside from doing it without their star player, is the fact that 12 Grizzlies players scored in double figures. That's team basketball.
Is it really?
Yeah, we won't address the elephant in the room standing on a tank, and we'll pretend that OKC actually tried to win that one. But anyway, that's a little something for the NBA history nerds. Things are certainly happening in the NBA today, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something important.
Now, I mentioned Kevin McHale in Massachusetts. And speaking of Massachusetts, I have a question from Larson in Boston, Massachusetts. And this question is this: what is more likely to happen first, a Rudy Gobert trade or the Nets moving Ben Simmons to center? What do you guys think?
That's a good one.
I got by a small margin. I think Ben moving to center would happen. I just think like Rudy's leadership and then his contract and his production, it's not movable because of what Minnesota had to give away already. So you can't replicate that. So I think Ben moving to center.
yeah, I think from a logistics standpoint, you're correct. Is there like is Gobert able to be traded? Like, is there a rule that you can't trade a player after acquiring him for a certain amount of time? Is that a thing?
I think after Christmas you can. I think.
Okay. Well, despite all that, I still think I don't think Simmons will ever play center. I mean, I think that's less likely. And like, whoever thought this Minnesota thing was going to work anyway? I mean, have we not watched basketball since 2013 when perimeter players became more important than big men? This Twin Tower thing was never going to work. Like, there's too much athleticism at every position. Like, there's no more of the Greg Ostertags or Luke Longley's in the NBA. Like, all these centers have perimeter mindsets that can spread the floor. When you have guys that can't guard their perimeter, that's really a recipe for failure. So I don't know why they even tried this experiment.
It's Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Well, it's a different question, but I don't think the configuration of Minnesota is that bad. I just think you need to have smarter people figure it out. But Ben Simmons playing center, I think that's highly more likely because, no offense to centers, but I think Ben Simmons' stock has dropped so low that he's useless. Like,
whoa,
go get some rebounds, go set some picks, do a little ball handling. Like, he can't be trusted to shoot. His free throws are basically like a center anyway. He's a liability in so many ways. Why not do something interesting and different and play him at center, right? Then see what happens, you know? I mean, you're not asking your center to take big time shots, so let him play the position. Like, the man's terrible. So he's too expensive to keep on the bench. So let him play center. That's what I think.
He hasn't really been playing on the bench. Like, he actually has been improved his last 3 or 4 games, and the best part about his game is his open court, like, you know, moving with the basketball, making decisions in the open court. I mean, he's not a center at all. I don't ever see anyone putting him at center personally.
Unless they put him in a position like like Draymond, and I mean, he's not as smart as Draymond.
Listen, bring up the ball, pass it, go on the block, and wait for rebounds. That's all I can think. Set a pick, go down on the block.
Is that no one needs Rudy Gobert on their team. Like, if I didn't mean it like that, but I mean, like, let's say Rudy is making like 10 mil, everyone would want him. You know what I mean? Because you can bench him if you want. He can play less minutes. But when a guy's getting paid that much and he's already been traded for that much, there's an expectation of, and then he's won like 3 defensive players of the year. There's expectation that he has to always be on the court. So, but other teams are like, no, we don't need that because we can outscore teams by shooting, or we can just get a random center and just grab rebounds, right? So I think that's why Ben Simmons to center would be a higher percentage than someone else trading for.
I mean, yeah, to go along with your guys' points, like the game has changed so much that it's almost like some teams, like Toronto, for example, has become positionless in a lot of aspects. You have guys playing guard that are 6'10", you have guys playing center that are shorter than some of the guards. So in that aspect, yeah, maybe he could slot him in at a 5, but I don't think it'll be like a long-term solution by any means. I just don't see it happening. I feel like the way Minnesota is going, the lack of production for Anthony Edwards, like how many dunks does Anthony Edwards have this year? Like as of November 2nd, I believe he had 0 dunks on the year. Like,
what?
He had 0 dunks. That was as of
Vince.
Yeah, like we're talking about a guy who was regularly posterizing people game to game last year. There's no reason why your own team's personnel should be limiting him and preventing him from getting to the basket. Your own team. It's
probably not the personnel. It's probably the Popeyes.
Boom, bam, bop, bada bop, boom,
It might be too, but I mean, yeah, and like you said, like Minnesota has made some like super bonehead moves over the years. This just seems like another bonehead field.
You know what Minnesota needs to do? Minnesota needs to get Miles Bridges.
They need to get what?
Why?
Miles Bridges.
What's that doing? He's laughing.
Miles Bridges, they would get Miles Bridges.
He's a free agent now, right? He's available.
Restricted.
I'm kidding.
Restricted.
Anyway, quick reminder to the high and low lives around the world. If you want to leave a question for us to answer on the show, drop a DM on TikTok at More High and Low and on Instagram at Get High and Low. Links are in the show notes. Hey, by the way, shout out to Larson. Thank you very much for your question. It is time for us to drop this segment in the middle of the World Cup with a rainbow armband and a naked bottle of Henny. And when we come back, these guys are going to tell us what they love and hate about the NBA. We'll be right back with More High and Low. This moment is brought to you by High and Low listeners. This week, we asked some listeners to share their top 5 players today, most likely to be a top 10 player of all time when it's all said and done, when they've called it a career and officially retired. We heard from Manesh in Chicago, Illinois, and his list is this from 5th to 1st, starting with number 5, Kevin Durant, KD. And scoring gets him there, if at all. I'll say that. Manesh has Luka Doncic at number 4. I think he would need to leave Dallas for that to happen. Sorry, Dallas fans, he needs help. Number 3 is Steph Curry. No disagreement here. Steph might be one chip away from securing that top 5 spot, in my opinion. Number 2 is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I agree if he continues to be dominant, if he continues to put up big numbers, if he continues to win, definitely the Nigerian Nightmare will be in that top 10. And for Manesh's number 1 pick, I think it's obvious. This guy's already a top 10 player of all time. LeBron James. LeBron. Absolutely no argument there. Great list, Manesh. Thank you. Appreciate you. Now let's get back to the show.
Well, that's all y'all got. You don't want too much.
We are back. I'm Ike Amaechi, and I'm here with Sean, Steven, and Ugo. All right. Let's be honest for a moment. What we do here is criticism. It's analysis. It's editorialization. We opine and wax poetic about the NBA. And these guys, these shills, often shamelessly deep their favorite teams and players every week. Sean excluded, actually. Sean excluded. I feel like Sean can take an objective look at things. But there's a lot of slobbering happening around here week to week.
Who are you talking to right now?
And it's cool. You know, have your favorite team. You know, you have a rooting interest. This is what makes the sport so special. The favoritism is the emotional investment. But sometimes you need to cast that bias aside to appreciate the other parts of the game, otherwise ignored or glossed over. So today, on this episode of High and Low, we're going to force that hand. We're going to try a little exercise. So Sean, Steven, and Ugo will share negative takes about teams and players they often favor, and then they'll share some positive takes about teams and players they often hate. By the way, you guys got to try, man. If the attempt is not acceptable, you will be booed. But hey, with that said, are you guys ready to get real?
Yeah, those are some hurtful adjectives you used at the beginning there, man. Jeez. But,
I don't know. I actually kind of liked it personally.
What, deep throat? And,
I was the only one that's not deep throating. I'm okay with that.
It's like, wow. I hope I don't hear no sound effects on that podcast.
Hey, I kid. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings,
All right,
man.
guys, what's next?
I add myself to that. But hey, why don't we start? Hey, man, we all go down together. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Pause. Hey, let's start with Steven. Steven, tell us one negative thing about the team you love most. And we know this team very well, the Lakers of Los Angeles. So go ahead.
Just took the words right out of my mouth. I guess we're both slobbering together.
Stop it.
So a negative thing, obviously, about the Los Angeles Lakers is that we weren't prepared for life after a championship. We're obviously 2 years removed from being crowned the NBA champions and the best team in the world. And instead of reloading and retooling and flowing into a natural repeat or three-peat, we just let this window of opportunity pass by us, and it's showing more than ever this year. We're terrible. We stink. And we've just been making bad moves. I just don't think after that 2020 championship, we decided to let's look at things and let's keep it going. So that's the only thing I hate because I love my team.
Preach, man. You go.
So I'll use my my favorite cheat code, the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, come on.
Hold on.
No.
In Ugo's defense, he has a different favorite team every week, so he can go with the Warriors.
Listen, exactly. So first, I
Raptors,
would say,
man.
Well, okay. The issue with the Golden State Warriors that I have is that they're just spending oodles and oodles and oodles and oodles of cash to get these championships, but they just don't have enough. They got a Klay Thompson that they're paying $40 million for this year. I have no idea what's going on there. They got $30 million coming to Mr. Poole there next year, and they're just awful right now, on top of the near $200 million that they're paying in luxury tax. And you have to ask yourself, number one, why is the GM, the owner, being so responsible? And number two, is it really all worth it? I rest my case. Hey, you better not boo.
I'm booing.
Why not boo? Listen, that's a lot of money to throw around for nothing.
Because you said, is it worth it or not? Who's the current NBA champion right now?
Listen,
Just answer. Just answer.
It was all worth it, man.
Answer.
It's Golden State, yes, that's true. But that's a lot of money that they've been shelling out the last 3 years for what?
That's a lot of revenue they got from winning that championship.
Yeah, they're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
No.
It's like baseball. You buy championships.
They are the most valuable team in the NBA. That was not the case even 5 years ago.
I stand by my answer.
This guy just making noises.
From a business standpoint, they're fine. From like a wins-loss standpoint, yeah, they're struggling. I don't think Poole's the answer either. I'm not a big fan of Jordan Poole, even though he went to Michigan. But yeah, no, I agree with you from that standpoint. But I mean, they're not like them. $200 million for them is nothing.
Can I just say this? According to Forbes, the Golden State Warriors, their debt to value ratio is 16%. They raked in $765 million in revenue last year, with only an operating income of $206 million. So you do the math on that. That's well over $500 million.
Yeah, but they paid the luxury tax too on top of that. You got to include that.
Yeah, but
That ain't nothing.
it erased. They just erased all of that.
Yeah,
They
didn't get
paid the
all that
luxury
money
tax.
But they didn't get all that themselves.
The luxury
Revenue.
tax is to help other poor teams.
Mm-hmm. So it goes right back to the league, which they do get back too.
Listen, every time I come up here and say something, you guys all shit on my stuff, man.
Hey, I said you got to come with it, man. You got to come correct, or else it might get ripped. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you know, the Golden State Warriors are in a good position. You know, their current value is $7 billion. Hey, you know what? Future podcast, it's a future episode.
Crazy.
Let's go buy them.
The business of
That's
basketball.
a
I will
crazy
get into
number.
it.
$7 billion.
Let's go buy 'em.
$7 billion.
Because
Buy it.
like no one was over like 1 or 2 billion like maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about Toronto? Like I know you kind of briefly touched on that. I'm just curious.
Okay. I mean, I guess I could talk about Toronto a little bit.
Things that you hate about Toronto?
Yeah, things that you hate about Toronto, or things
I'd like
that
to-
the
I'd
reason
like
why
to
they're
hear
not-
this.
Well, okay. Well, I'll right off the bat, and I know Sean, you'll appreciate this. Like not being able to sign some sort of top-notch free agents.
That's
You know,
huge.
after a while, that sort of makes you wonder because even the crappy teams are able to do the same thing. So why not Toronto? And then I guess the other thing I would say is this notion, and maybe it's their culture, I don't know, but it's this notion. Sometimes I find the Raptors just meandering through seasons, not really pulling the trigger and doing anything significant at the trade deadline, and just expecting their players to play above their pay grade. That's great from a fan perspective when they do play above their pay grade. But I mean, every year we look at this team and we say, yeah, they're going to overachieve. They're going to overachieve, but they're not going to overachieve to win a championship.
No.
They're not going to overachieve to get to a finals. They're just
Say
going
it
to
louder.
overachieve to get into the playoffs. So, you know, I mean, I applaud Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster for the magic that they've been able to do the last decade with this squad. But really, if you look back, the sheer madness or genius, depending on when you look at it, or the gamble that they did with Kawhi was really the only shining moment in this franchise's history. Aside from that, it's been just silly, right? So at some point, somebody's going to have to say, listen, you guys are great, but you're good at developing players, but we need some chips. So let's get some chips.
Sounds like a farm team.
Yeah.
All the time.
Wow.
You guys overglorify everyone you get. And then still living off the Kawhi stuff. But hey,
It's
can't-
true.
I can't say anything.
Can I just say one thing? Can we edit out Hugo's Golden State nonsense and just put that Toronto? Because that was really well done.
That was great.
Golden State, not so much.
That was incredible, man.
Listen, Mitch, I didn't want to say it. They made me. They made me say it, Mitch.
Okay, next, what's his name? With his back to me.
Sean.
So obviously Miami is a team that I typically like and I typically lean towards and support. The negative thing I'm going to bring up about them is their current roster construction and more specifically the age and health of their top players. Like we have guys, not we, but they have guys like Butler and Adebayo who are regularly not available. He's not really an impact player anymore, but Victor Oladipo hasn't played a game. They're old. This core is past their prime. They have a lot of issues, but right at the top of that list is Kyle Lowry not being even close to the guy that they expected they were getting.
He's done.
Yeah, he's finished.
He's I'll give him some credit. He is averaging more points this year than he was last year, but his PER is 13.99 and the league average is 15. When he was at his peak in Toronto, he was getting MVP chance, and there were times when he was the best player on the court against great teams and players. He's never been the best player on his court in his time in Miami. It looks like Toronto absolutely fleeced them by getting Precious Achiuwa. And like you just said it, Lowry's washed. He needs to retire. And at this point, I feel like he's embarrassing Toronto.
Hey.
But I think Miami's at the point where they really need to blow the whole thing up. Trade Bam, trade Jimmy while they still have some trade value. Hope and pray that Nikola Jovic becomes Nikola Jokic, and hope that Kyle Lowry leaves and never comes back.
Wow. Pew, pew, pew. Wow.
Blow it up. Wow. You need to drop an explosion effect there, man. That's just wow.
Oh, it's there. It's there. Now that we've heard your honest opinions about the teams you love, let's move on to the teams you dislike, maybe even hate. And let's see what nice things you have to say about those teams. Steven, you want to start this one off?
This is short and sweet. It's the Los Angeles Clippers. They keep beating my team, whether Kawhi is in the lineup or not. In the last 13 games, the Clippers have beat Lakers in 11. And we got the overall, so I keep jumping back to, we beat Clippers 150 times. They beat us 83 times. I got to keep remembering this stupid number. But yeah, man, they've been handling us, and it's crazy. And I still do wonder if we did meet in the playoffs the year we won a championship, if we would have won. I don't know, because they're not strong enough to meet us there. But regular season Warriors, they keep killing us, man. And yeah, man, it's kind of hard because they're the stepchild of Los Angeles. We don't care about them, but
Stepchild, and wow, are they the best team in LA?
For what?
The best basketball team in LA.
What are the Sparks doing right now?
Wow.
Are Sparks not even playing?
Are they
This way you just want to say it.
Are they the third best team in California behind the Warriors and the Kings?
Kings, yeah.
Because we know the Rams aren't there.
Exactly.
That's how it's working out. But yeah, good job, Clippers, for beating us earlier season.
Look at that. Look at that. Praise from Stephen Leslie.
It still pains me that we never saw that series in the bubble.
Yeah,
I know.
The Clippers were supposed to be the favorite that year, and they bowed out in the second round or something. Was it Dallas or no?
Or wait, who were the favorites?
The Clippers.
What do you mean Lakers were favorites?
No, I'm just saying preseason when they got Kawhi, Paul George. And then we were supposed to see the Lakers Clippers playoff series, and that was supposed to be the finals, right?
Because at Christmas it was a good game, and then we ended up being first.
And the Clippers won that game, right, at Christmas?
Yeah, I know, Sean.
Is that one of the 11 or 13?
Yeah,
personally. I know, Sean.
I wasn't even trying to throw shots there. I was just clarifying a fact.
All right. So, Sean, what's the team that you dislike that you want to say some nice things about? Some superlatives.
Yeah, so I mean, we and I specifically have been talking a lot about this team lately, and I dislike them for multiple reasons, not just basketball related, but also some politics and whatever. But man, are they ever proving me wrong? And that's the Utah Jazz. Last week I talked about how tough their upcoming schedule is and that I expected them to dip below 500, and what do? They go out and beat Phoenix and Portland, who I think were 1 and 2 in the West at that point. Yes. So kudos to Utah, who's still playing way above expectations.
It's amazing. We hate to see it.
I hate it, but I kind of like it too, because they're huge underdogs every game they play until they're not. But
it's a nice story.
It's cute,
right? It's cute.
It's so funny. It's so funny. What are you laughing at?
Ugo, team that you hate.
Well, I hate the Lakers. Yeah, I hate the Lakers. But what I will say is, one, there's about 3 games that they lost by less than 5 points. So had they won those games, they probably wouldn't look as horrible as they are. And the last 4 games, I guess after unlocking top 75 player Anthony Davis and LeBron sitting on the bench, they kind of sort of look competitive. So this team might not be as trash as we think they are. If they can actually figure it all out, they might actually be this formidable, dangerous team that they're supposed to be. So that's going to be the comment that I have for them. They're not as terrible as their record, that's for sure.
What is their record? I'm curious.
Oh, it'll be different by the time.
Well, Sean, it's 5-11.
Oh, okay. What did I say they were going to be after?
That's
20?
4 more wins than I thought they would have at this point in time. So, which proves my point. They're not as bad as we thought that they were.
But why do you hate them? I don't understand why you hate them.
Because you like them.
Yeah.
I can answer that.
That's legitimate. I feel kind of similar.
The crazy thing is, they're in your mouth more than they're in mine.
Wow. Listen, I'm not even going
Wow,
there.
pause.
I'm walking away.
Pause.
I'm walking away.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not on the podcast, I hear Lakers. I'm on the podcast, I hear Lakers. Discord, I hear Lakers. WhatsApp, I hear Lakers.
Day?
Instagram, I hear
Day?
Lakers.
Yo, let's do Christmas Day bet.
Nope.
What do you think of Darvin Ham's coaching, Ugo? How he's managed Russell Westbrook? And
I'm not paying attention to him. I don't even know why he's still there. I ain't paying attention. Listen,
he's getting praise, man.
Listen, I already gave the Lakers their props. This next topic, man. I ain't going further than that.
Wow.
I saw Patrick Beverley do his goonery, though. That was actually hilarious.
That's to me, that's not goonery. He stepped up because someone stepped over his player. I don't understand why he got a 3-game suspension.
Because it was from behind and it was a cheap shot. But he also, Patrick Beverley is the worst offensive player in the NBA right now. His stats are so bad. I think he's shooting 22% from the field.
Sean, quit. You sound like Mitch. Just relax.
Wow.
I don't think you could have said anything worse to me.
Come on, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of this episode of High and Low. How did it feel, guys? Was it a struggle?
No, it was good. It was good. It's good to be back.
Good to be back in the episode. And Ugo, the special guest. How does it feel to be back?
Man, I wasn't no special guest, man. I was maybe special referee for this, but not no special guest. What's wrong with you guys?
Oh man,
it was a very humbling but refreshing experience.
Yeah, it's nice to go through these exercises, man. Look at a player or a team from another perspective. Maybe you'll appreciate the Clippers in a different way, or the Utah Jazz.
Oh, this would have been good for Mitch.
Why the f*** I can't shoot 3-point shot?
This brings us to the end of this episode of the High and Low Basketball Podcast. So thank you, Ugo. Thank you, Sean. And thank you, Steven. Subscribe to High and Low anywhere you find podcasts and make us a part of your weekly routine. Tell your friends about it. You know where to find us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Links to those are all in the show notes. So where can listeners find you, Ugo?
Well, due to some complaints from certain individuals, I am no longer known as Big Honey. So you can't find me right now. And if you can, you get a prize DM from me. So try your best.
I tried to find you the other day just to tag you on a post. I was like, wait, Big Honey, it's not working.
Yeah.
He's not allowed.
Yeah, I can't use it no more, man. So
I gave him 3 days notice.
Wow.
2 days after my comments.
And Steven, where can they find you, man?
You guys can find me in Spain, going to the Balenciaga flagship store, get that kid drip on.
What did you say?
What? What?
Just kidding.
You guys left the chat.
I don't agree with the previous message. I'm on Instagram at Esteban_ROY, ESTEBAN_ROY.
Nice. And burn that Balenciaga stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can still find me at Sean_controversy on Instagram and at controversy on Twitter.
And we're still on baby watch We're still on baby watch for Sean.
No baby yet, but that should probably change within the next few weeks.
Can't wait. Can't wait for you to absolutely have your life turned upside down.
Again.
And,
Yeah.
Should name the child Kobe.
Kobe.
That's actually
if you do that,
it's on the list. It's on the list.
Once again, music is by Live, the Enjoy Music Group. You can find Live on Twitter and on Instagram at LYVE. Additional music on this podcast is by Sonny Rockwell of The Goodness. You can't find that guy anywhere. Sound design is by Vonn August. This is a Vonn+Abrahamm podcast, just in case you didn't know. So on behalf of Ugo, Mitch is not here, but Steven, of course, Sean. On behalf of these guys, I'm Ike Amaechi. Thank you for listening to High and Low. We'll see you next week.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong?
I like that.
I don't like that. That's true.
That's right.
Now I'll get a DM from Vanessa, so let's see what happens.
All right, you guys, what's next?
Your limits are somewhere up there, waiting for you to reach beyond infinity. Arnold Henry said that, and I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Your limits are somewhere up there, waiting for you to reach beyond infinity. Arnold Henry said that, and I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. This moment is brought to you by High and Low listeners. This week, we asked listeners to share their top 5 players today, most likely to be a top 10 player of all time when it's all said and done, when they've called it a career and officially retired. We heard from Manesh in Chicago, Illinois, and his list